What is up, the YouTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about some thoughts about failed projects, especially in this digital sort of industry, and especially this tech industry, especially the crypto industry. How you can go and look back at things a few years ago or 1 year ago or 2 years ago, and you can see that, oh, these things was kind of silly. Oh, this was a stupid idea. This was a stupid project. This yeah, this was silly nonsense. It's always easy to look like when you are in the future, or no, not when you are in the future, but when you are in the present, and when you're looking back, you can see that some stuff that people thought was pretty silly. And it's kind of interesting when things gets revealed about. So if you want to see if a project is gonna like succeed or fail, like you never really know about that because you don't have all the information about a project, or you don't know how competent those people are, or you don't even know if there's a real market for this. There's a lot of data that you need to know all those things. So the best thing to sort of see is just like, be perceptive and observe a project and use it and think for yourself and see, is it working? Does the world needs this? Is it making stuff better? Are there better ways to do something? Like there's so much stuff that goes into making something successful. So most stuff, like most projects, are going to be failures just because most of the time it's something that's not really needed. Like you realize with a lot of stuff that fails, like most of the time why stuff fails is because people are not really dedicated. And that's something that we have seen a lot in the crypto industry. Like the biggest, like in theory a lot of stuff can work, but it's that people are not dedicated to keep at it. So usually what you find is people that are super dedicated to something. It's usually people that focus all their time and energy and passion into one project or something, and they keep at it. And usually they're not doing something mega impressive or something that is super hard, but it's that they have dedication that sort of makes it so they are in a process of discovery where they're discovering so much stuff that other people that just gloss things over are not really discovering. And just because most people don't have dedication when they have a project, they're not discovering as much novel information, so it makes it so they kind of usually quit. So it's really really interesting in this crypto industry how eventually you sort of get this. So I've been in this industry for around 2 years. You sort of start to realize already from the start, when you're seeing a new project, seeing all these track record of all these other things that people have tried, when you're starting to gather up the track record and you're seeing, no, this is successful, this is not working, and when you sort of know that much better than in the past, then you can sort of see, you can kind of identify other things that probably will be a big success as well. And just because this is a new industry, it's like nobody has done a lot of these things before. So a lot of stuff kind of has to fail. So we sort of see what kind of sticks, and what is sort of what has a market fit. And it's really interesting because the stuff that works really great, it's not as shiny, it's not as in your face. It's usually something that gradually builds up, but it has some product or something that people enjoy a lot. And there's a lot of passion behind the developers as well. And it's not like this one event that they do that changed everything, but it's this slow build up. And that's what you see in successful projects. They're really quiet, they're really slow, while you kind of can identify now when you've seen many failed projects. you start to realize a lot, like, oh, these people are probably not so competent, or these people are probably in an industry and trying to do something that they don't really have the talent for. So it's really interesting how you sort of get that kind of skill to sort of be able to faster detect, oh, this is a good idea, oh, this is a bad idea. And it's almost as it's almost as you can come into this mode where you want to see more stuff fail faster, because the faster a lot of stuff fails, the faster people are going to realize what works, because it's going to be more obvious when a lot of stuff fails fast what is actually working, and what is actually pretty like a genius idea, and what is actually something that people should use or pay attention to. So you have a lot of these projects that are sort of they're sort of they're sort of they're sort of hanging on, just because there's someone that's doing something super tiny. But many times those many projects, they're really just silly ideas, and many times people should just focus on, better projects. Yeah, and this is something that's not being said enough. That, yeah, a lot of business ideas are just not smart, right? And you also have this something that you sort of realize seeing a bunch of failures is, you sort of also see how much people want to live in denial, and they do not want to see reality. And you can also you really detect that humans have blind spots. Humans have blind spots where they are using their sense perception, and everyone has their own blind spots of stuff that they cannot detect that well, but other people can sort of see it. And that's also how it works with projects. So you probably can see if something is a really silly project or silly idea, and other people can do that back to you. But yeah, it's fascinating. I think it's really, really interesting in this industry, because everything happens much quicker. And this is something that I talked a little bit about in the past, where how other industries that was more tied to the physical world, they were way more slower. Like, they did not have tokens, but they had stocks. But it was like those kind of companies and those kind of industries, they were way slower. And it's because we are operating in the digital world, that is kind of starting to move away a little bit from be so attached to time. We can see things much faster. We can see events happen much quicker, and that's the same with crypto prices. You can see something go up 30 or 40% in a day, and it's like nothing. So failures and success, in many ways, both of them, it means kind of less, because you can have a new project popping up quite fast, and if it's a good idea, it can be adopted super quick. While in sort of the physical world, where people had to build up a business and have real customers, and they have to find you in a physical location and all this, that was so much slower. So there, a failed project maybe was worse, you know. But when you speed everything up, in many ways it sort of becomes a parody in many ways, and people can sort of see the parody and kind of laugh at stuff, and then move on pretty quick to something that works. And that's kind of cool. Well, I think in the slower world, physical world, more attached to those markets, are more attached to that, they can way more become identified with failures, and yeah, not just move on. So there are interesting benefits with the digital sphere. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Some quick thoughts about failed projects, and it's really interesting when you go back and see stuff that you did a few years ago, and you can see how you're sharpening yourself, and you see that you sort of are the same person in many ways, but you're doing these minor tweaks of, oh, I love this, I don't like this, and so on. And it's like a path, right? It's like a path, and you can learn to enjoy seeing failed projects and learn from them, and also and also really pay attention to successful projects and also learn from them, because there's so much to learn from both sides. And in some ways it's a little bit sad that marketing is just that if you really want to get amazing stuff out to people, you really have to put on a show in many ways, because marketing is powerful, right? And if great and good projects are not using marketing, then they are probably gonna lose out to some worse thing that want to do massive marketing, and just because they are taking more steps, to get out to people, they can like get their mediocre product out to people, while we actually want good projects or have amazing marketing and like get that in front of people's faces. But that's going to take a lot of dedication, that's going to take a lot of exploration from human beings. And you sort of you sort of learn to enjoy the process much more, everything that really happens, because everything is a new experience. And I find it kind of fascinating how life kind of works that way, how many different experiences just one individual can have, and then you scale that up to billions of people and how they have their own unique experiences of things. So yeah, I wanted to talk in this video a little bit just about, yeah, some quick thoughts about failed projects and successful projects. I mean, both are very, very interesting to sort of consider. And now I consider like failed token ideas or like blockchain ideas. They're just stupid. Like the more you like really go deeper into something and really ask yourself harder questions, like, is this really a good idea? Like, do we actually need this? Are they actually competent? Because when you're coming into to this industry, you just want to hear all the good stuff, right? Oh, we have 50 white papers here, great. A white paper means it's going to be instant success. I mean, that's kind of like how you sort of coming into this industry in many ways, where people just drop a white paper and it's like, yeah, we have a white paper, that means it's going to be massive success. But as humans starting to use their intellect more, they're really going to start to consider, wait a sec, a lot of this is just pure nonsense. Many times we want to believe that other people are like know what they're talking about, but many times you realize that they're just as ignorant as you, or maybe even more ignorant. And then you realize, oh wow, most people have no idea what you're talking about. And then you start to dive a little bit deeper into trying to find people that actually using their perception, using their senses, and actually can see things and report back accurate information. And you want to find people that basically are competent and have experience, have wisdom, and can sort of easily detect, oh, this is a great thing, this is a bad thing, and so on. Because then you can save a lot of time and energy, and you don't have to be trapped in a lot of failed projects or stupid, silly nonsense. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.